Hello everyone, and thanks for joining me for the April new moon in Aries. And this is occurring on April 11th in the US at 10:31 p.m. Eastern Time, but times will vary. My name is Vickieverlie. I am the rock and roll prophetess. I've been in the metaphysical field professionally for over 30 years. I am a psychic, intuitive reader. I do channeling, astrology, tarot. So this is a psychic astrology reading. So it's not exactly by the book. It won't be by the book at all. I'm using the chart as almost a scrying tool to kind of tune in and get messages for the upcoming new moon. If you are a very by the book astrologer, this may not be the reading for you. On the other hand, if you're looking at this and thinking this looks like a bunch of mumbo jumbo and I'll never understand it, hang in there because it's just a jumping off point and it does get into more psychic messages as we move through. Okay, so let's take a look. Talk about some Aries energy. It's on, baby. So we've got the new moon, the sun and moon in 22 degrees of Aries. This is our new moon in Aries. We also have Ceres conjunct within 3 degrees and Venus conjunct. And we're just having a big Aries thing here. We've got Chiron, Mercury, Ceres, Sun, Moon, Venus. So there's a major influx of this Aries energy. And so we want to do new things. We're chomping at the bit. We don't want to be locked up anymore. On the northern hemisphere, it's spring. Spring is moving forward. We want to initiate new things. We want to get going. So it gives us a lot of energy and vitality to do those sorts of things. It's a great time to start new things. But it also is, it can lead to a lot of aggravation and frustration, especially if you're in an area that's still under lockdown or, there's restrictions like that. It can be the downside of every sign, and every planetary ruler of every sign has a positive and negative way of expressing. So the positive side of the Aries is everything I just mentioned. Get up and go. Let's do this. Let's initiate. Light that fire. Get things going, which is great. But also the Aries it's the god of war. It's ruled by Mars. Aries is ruled by Mars, the god of war. And therefore, it can be anger, irritation, people having a short fuse. That's what I'm being shown, having a short fuse, and anger could be really sparking up there too. What is it doing here? It's trining up with this Juno. So it's like try to find the beauty in things. When Juno's involved, we want to try to find the beauty. We want to look at the beauty and try to find it in unusual ways. Maybe outside of our normal way of thinking and being in our normal environment. There's a lot of that where people are, it's always the other, the other, we're always after, the other is wrong and that. So try to find that beauty in it. That's what this is talking to us about. It's also squaring up with the Pluto. Now we've had since Pluto's been in Capricorn, it's been a few years, maybe 5 or 6 years already, even longer. But there's been a lot of Pluto squaring over to the Aries energy all the time. So that's definitely happening with this new moon. That again can bring about some of this frustration and, wanting to bring down the patriarchy or the anarchists or whatever, the powers that be. We want to bring them down, and, we want to, there could be that kind of thing going on. But it's also sextiling Jupiter. I love that it's sextiling Jupiter, especially in the 11th house of groups and associations and groups. So the 11th house is very much, and the 11th house and the Aquarius energy, 11th house Aquarius Uranus, this is all talks about inclusive, bringing people into the group, being tolerant. And Jupiter being an Aquarius anyway for this year is emphasizing that, because Jupiter always does emphasize, make more of, expand. So it's expanding all of the Aquarius or Uranian energy. And a big part of that is, for the brotherhood of mankind, all for one, and, forward thinking and all these sorts of things. Now Saturn's in there too, but Saturn's not sextiling that moon, but Saturn is trining the nodes. So Saturn is really wanting us to really align with our collective. The nodes are always about where we're going in life, where we're meant to be going from a higher perspective. And Aries is more about where we want to go, and we're going to make it happen. We're going to ram down that door and bust right in, like gangbusters. That's not the Aquarian way. It's a very different energy, but it's harmonious. It's not in conflict, because They are sextile. It's an air sign to a fire, so it's sextiling, and that is her harmonious vibration. And so it's also trining the south node and sextiling, or trining the north node and sextiling the south node. So trines, sextiles, harmonious things, could happen. So it's wanting us to get to the north node in Mercury. It wants us to speak about, talk things out, think clearly about things, With Aries, you want to think for yourself. I think that's something that's really, there's so much tribalism. That's the downside, of the group thing. We can get into this, well, I don't care. Even if it's wrong, oh well, I'm going along with what my group says, Instead of taking everything on a case-by-case basis and thinking for yourself, and finding out the facts for yourself and sorting things out for yourself. Now, this could be at the world at large, with the 11th house and the 10th house, what's going on in, politics and world affairs. But really with the Aries energy, it's really more bringing it down to home. It's really bringing it down to yourself, to the individual. That song, the Michael Jackson, I'm Looking at the Man in the Mirror song is coming through. By the way, if you've never seen my readings, what happens is a lot of times, I'm a lifelong musician, and many of my musician friends have since passed over, and I get music messages all the time. I get lyrics all the time. So I was hearing the Michael Jackson, I've got Looking at the Man in the Mirror. I'm asking him to make a change. If you want to make the world a better place, take a look at yourself. Yeah, so that's, if you want to, you can look that up further, because there could be more messages within that song. I'm not going to do it right now. If you do look it up and post it in the comments, please post the lyrics, copy and paste the lyrics. Because if you post a link, YouTube automatically thinks it's spam, and I don't always check it, so nobody will see it, probably. Okay? But anyways, back to this. Yeah, so we want to talk. We want to communicate. We want to think clearly. We want to think for ourselves. That's definitely a thing. The other thing that's going on, Mercury, which is the ruler of the 3rd house and the ruler of Gemini, is over here in this Aries cluster here. So the ruler of it is also making this sextile trine thing here. It just occurred to me, because it's also with Chiron too. We're going to talk about that. But it just occurred to me because it's trining. The trine is the stronger aspect, really, because it's fire and fire. And then the sextile is like air feeds fire, water feeds earth. So the stronger connection is to the south node here, coming from the Mercury and Chiron here. So we could maybe look back on some past things and really get some big clarity on it. Like, oh wow, now I understand. Now I see why that happened. Now I understand how, you could figure out things that maybe aren't really happening here and now, although that's very much the Aries energy here and now. But there's definitely some ties to the past. Now, the Mercury Chiron here, Chiron is the wounded healer. Chiron is always, it can be kind of a downer energy. Chiron can be kind of depression, and Chiron is where we beat ourselves up and wound ourselves, and we feel unworthy, like that. So, those thoughts could start running rampant. That's one thing. But also, you could say stuff to somebody, watch your words. You could say something that could be real hurtful or trigger this in somebody without even knowing it. But be careful what you say. That Mars, let's go to war. You could say something and, regret saying it later, that it may have hurt or wound you. Excuse me. On the other side of this coin, though, with the Mercury being the mental mind, and your words, but mental mind, you could really figure out some things. If you are the one who's getting triggered or getting wounded, I keep seeing swords, like getting stabbed. I don't know what's, that's knife in the back kind of a thing. If you're feeling like somebody just cuts like a knife. I'm hearing that cuts like a knife. So if it cuts like a knife, maybe you could have some reasoning as to why that is affecting you in the way that it is. And sometimes by understanding that, just by coming down to understanding that, it's like, oh, it's 1st house, it always comes back to you, It all comes back to you. There's another song like that. It's all comes back to you. A lot of harmonies in it. I can't quite grab it. Oh, it's Joni Mitchell. That's what it is. It all comes down to you. That's what I'm hearing, yeah. Is that Blue? What song is that? something about the cafe. I'm meeting him in the cafe, and Richard, and I don't know if anybody knows it. Put it in the comments. All comes down to you. Yeah, I'm hearing it in my head. Yeah, so this is, with the Chiron there. I mean, I know it's it's Aries, so it's outward, go, do, be, But there's a quality of this inward thing, and really getting some things about yourself and your own behaviors and your own actions, and how you could trigger, get triggered or potentially trigger others. That's all could be in there with the Chiron Mercury thing. Now the Venus is involved too, so we got to bring in Venus. We can't forget about Venus over here. And Venus is always like love, beauty, money. This new moon with the Venus conjuncted, that'd be a great time if you were going to start on some kind of a financial thing, some kind of a financial venture of some sort, and you wanted to, start a business, invest in some kind of stocks or money or something like that. The Venus with this, it would definitely bring, it could be very prosperous. So it would be a great time to start something, on a financial way with Venus being involved. The other thing is your head and your face. If you wanted to get like your hair dyed, or, well, the first house is physical body, so it could even be like wardrobe update, get some new clothes, but it's really like your head. So your hair on your head, or, maybe get a makeover, or if anybody was considering, getting some kind of work done on your face, or even if it's just like whatever, some kind of a procedure that's not necessarily, a facelift, but maybe like whatever, some kind of a facial or chemical peel or something, something like that. I don't know. I haven't never done anything like that. Not to say that it's wrong if you do want to do it. I'm just saying that's not, I don't know a lot about it because I've never done anything like that. But anything that would involve like your face or your head, there would be a good time to do that. And Venus would make it look you would look great. It would come out looking beautiful. Looking marvelous. You look marvelous. All right, so the other thing that's happening is it's sextiling with the Mars. So it's sextiling with its own ruler. So that's a good indication that there's a strong pull to use this energy in a positive way, because we have this nice harmonious sextile energy happening here. Let's look at the aspectarian. We have Pluto squaring up with the whole thing. We already talked about that. And then we have Neptune squaring Mars. Okay, Neptune squaring Mars could be misunderstandings. Especially Mars in the 12th. I mean, Neptune in the 12th there. That's why you got to go to the Gemini Mercury energy. You got to just talk about it. Don't sit here imagining all this stuff. Well, they said that. I bet that's why they mean that. Oh, well, I know, blah, blah, blah. And then that gets into this. Oh, they're just trying to hurt me. They're just trying to steal from me or do this or that, whatever. This crazy. It can get crazy. Some of these crazy victim stories. That's why you want to go to the Gemini and really think it through and get clarity and have mental clarity and really understand it. Because there could be misconstrued things going on with that energy for sure. You could get pissed off over something that wasn't even what was meant to be, or what it was all about. You could have, there's illusions or delusions. You could be deluded about somebody's motives or tactics, and it would probably be in a more of a negative way. Of, oh, well, they said that just to piss me off, or they're trying to start up with me right now, and getting into this, every little thing is, getting overly offended, overly taking offense to, things that weren't intended that way at all. Okay, we have Saturn square Uranus. That's that ongoing thing that's been going on. That's been going on for quite a while. It's over here at 9 degrees, and then it's 12. So this actually is, the orb is widening on that one. That's not as much as it has been. That would be, I think, these two would be more relevant if it was really hitting something right in your natal chart. It would really be more relevant, or you would really experience it stronger. But, there's a lot of different ways that can go. Uranus is the ruler of Aquarius, so its own ruler, its own ruler is in the sign of Saturn, which it doesn't like. Uranus, it used to co-rule Saturn, I guess it might like it, but Uranus wants to fly, wants to be free. And then Uranus in Taurus doesn't like, it's not the best expression of that energy either. It's kind of bogged down. It's kind of like what they're showing me is like trying to fly a kite in a very windy day, and you're trying to hold on to that string, you're Taurus, and you're over here trying to hold on to that string, and that kite's just going crazy, trying to get away, and it's just flying crazy. That's been happening to me constantly. Not constantly, but it happened twice again. It's happened like about 5 times over the last few months. I've seen kites stuck in trees, so I guess there's some kind of esoteric message there too. It doesn't seem like it's a real good one. But that's kind of like this Taurus energy. This is what this reminds me of. That's what they're showing me. You're trying to, the kite wants to just let the wind take it away, and it's just fighting. It doesn't want to be. Or like if you were trying to hold down a bird, like that, and it's on its leg and it's trying to fly away. But before I move away from the kite, and Uranus rules electricity, what else? What do you think of? I think of Benjamin Franklin, which is totally another, he happened to be a Capricorn, which is the Saturn energy. But so sometimes flying the kites out in the, these conflicting things, like I'm sure, people would say, don't do that, Ben. It's not a good idea to go out in that storm with that key and that kite, man. I don't think it's a good idea, dude. Come on, reel that kite back in here, But it was instrumental in discovering electricity. So, and that's a big thing of Uranus too, that, it does want to expand. It does want to scientific discovery. Uranus all day long, it rules, scientific discoveries. So it could be scientific breakthroughs and discoveries for sure. I mean, we have the vaccines for the pandemic. Maybe that's it. But bringing it down here to us in the Earth, it could be in your own life. It doesn't have to be scientific in nature. The discovery is discovery about yourself. And if you're, Aries has that quality too. If I just want to go, they don't want to be penned in. So if you're just all wild and all over the place all the time, and you just want to, the Earth energy helps ground it. It helps bring it in, and so that we can, pull these things out of the ethers and pull them down to Earth and what I'm hearing is rediscover them. That's interesting. Well, I think that's true. I mean, I think a lot of this stuff we aren't discovering it. It's being rediscovered, It's not like it didn't exist before Benjamin Franklin, found the kite or whatever. Electricity always existed, and it was just being rediscovered. They made a real point of that rediscovering. So the rediscovering, that could be a message for some specific people out there too. Maybe you're rediscovering something about yourself. The Aries energy, first house, is about the self. So it is a lot of self-discovery. There's going to be a lot of energy, potentially a lot of pent-up energy. But you can use that and direct it towards positive things and towards things that are going to elevate you rather than keep you down. That's what I'm trying to get to. The positive side, the Aries energy, we said, the negative is the anger. It could be anxiety too, for sure. You get up this pent-up nervous energy, anxiety, anger, frustration. But positive side, it's go, do. But if you feel a lot of that, the other side, the way to discharge that, if you're overwhelmed by all this Aries energy, you got to get rid of it, And don't get rid of it by starting a fight or screaming and yelling at somebody. Mars energy, sex is number one. But it's physical activity. Get out there and do some physical activity. Just because if you're still under quarantine or whatever, you can still go out there and run around the block a few times, or, go and tackle that, cleaning out that attic or something, because the attic is like associated also like with the head energy and, with the house and the head thing. So yeah, go and clean out that attic or use that, it's fuel, So if the fuel, you can light that fuse and it could explode, or you can light that fuse and really use that, light that fire under your butt to get yourself moving and motivated. And, Do something that you've been putting off. Do something for yourself, I think. It's the first house, so do something for yourself. And then you don't have to worry about what anybody else is doing and fighting all this other stuff with other people. The Neptune's also squaring the Juno again, so the Juno is really activated. The Juno is trining the new moon, it's opposing the Mars, it's squaring the Neptune. And Juno is an asteroid, but it's that beauty, Find the beauty in something different, if you just look at it, all these lines all are moving up here. To me, they all move up here to Juno. And so Juno is what's being pointed out here, okay? And then that Juno is the queen of gods. It's not far removed from the Venus energy. It's very much about love, beauty, but it's in the 9th house, so that always wants us to look at things from a different way. And then it's also, it's education, higher education. So it's like learn about what you're talking, learn about what you're talking about before you just start running your mouth or, getting angry. Maybe try to, learn about it. Learn about what you're, if it's a culture or if it's just, if there's somebody in particular, like this could even be like studying like psychology and stuff like that, or, those kind of things, self-help stuff. Learn what makes you tick. That's what they just told me. What makes you tick, and what makes other people who piss you off, what makes them tick. Because sometimes when you understand that, you're not angry anymore, You're more just like, oh, I see now. I see what that's about. Okay. All right. So hopefully you guys are going to have a lot of motivation and energy to get things done and, light that fuse under your butt and get rolling on projects or whatever you want to do. And just keep that in mind. If you're feeling frustrated, then burn that energy up. Go to the gym, go for a run. Do some push-ups, whatever it takes, There's always a way to discharge that so it doesn't become combustible, because it really can. All this Aries squaring with that, it could be combustible. But we don't have to go there. And we don't have to go there because we're intelligent, cognitive beings, We don't have to say, well, I went off and I blew up because they pissed me off or this or that. Get a hold of yourself. Right? Get a hold of yourself. All right, I'm going to go because I'm getting we're going down a weird tangent here, and I'm just going to wrap it up. So thanks, everybody, for tuning in. Thanks for all your comments, likes, and shares. If you want to subscribe, please hit the subscribe button. It helps me out. Remember, you are love and beauty incarnate. Have the best ever Aries moon. Get motivated. Get things moving. Get things going. All right. Have a good one. We'll talk to you again soon. Bye.